Hello everyone, Bashar here. So we have some champion rebalances coming up. As you can see, Greathoof Loriaca is one of those. So guys, you keep saying something over and over, and you finally are proven right. In the end, it's a nice feeling. So I keep saying that we should be going for all fusions, because they are potential faction guardians and they could be buffed even if they are bad. And this is the first time a fusion is getting buffed, right? At least relatively recently. So Greathoof Loriaca is getting buffed. I'm not very sure how good it's gonna be, but at least she's gonna be a little better. She can go in some Sintranos rooms, so she's, I think, okay. So the A1 gets 10% turn meter fill for each stolen buff. So she has 50% of stealing buffs. On average, she's gonna steal one buff. That means she's gonna get 10% turn meter. If the enemy has a buff, yeah, I mean that is very much almost like nothing. Okay, there is that. So this one is somewhat better. She places a decreased accuracy alongside with that decreased resistance. Right? That is pretty nice. Because decreased resistance can help you bring your champions with a lower amount of accuracy, right? I mean, because their resistance is decreased, and decreased accuracy will help you resist the enemy. I guess it's not bad, and she also gets 10% turn meter for each debuff placed, right? So for the decreased resistances and decreased defenses, they both give decreased resistance and decreased accuracy. They both give 10% turn meter, so she can actually get up to 100% turn meter back out of this. That's pretty fine. Almost, not exactly, but close to an extra turn. That is, of course, nice, not bad at all. And she also places an increased accuracy buff alongside with this. And if you think about increase accuracy and decrease resistance together, she kind of eliminates the need of your accuracy for your entire team. I mean, imagine she does increase accuracy, right? Let's say your champion has 200 accuracy, right? You go up to 300 accuracy, and the enemy has 500 accuracy, 500 resistance. That goes down to 250, and then you are able to cap debuff 97% of the time. Imagine, guys, your 200 accuracy versus enemy's 500 resistance, and you debuff all the time, which kinda, as I said, eliminates the need for accuracy. That's nice, but you know what would be nicer? The nicer thing would be if she also placed an increased resistance buff alongside with that increased accuracy. So we could fully utilize this, right? We increase our resistance and accuracy. We drop the enemies, so we can place our debuffs and we can also resist the enemies at the same time. Would have been nice. I don't think. I mean, I'm greedy with that suggestion because she's still not gonna do it. So the problem with these recent rebalances is, guys, I mean, they do change the champion in a positive way, but the damage multipliers never get increased, right? With Lady Eva, with the Queen Eva, we had very nice buffs all across the board, right? I mean, the abilities were themselves buffed, and the damage was also buffed. The damage in here does not get buffed at all. And the 20% turn meter is, I think, laughable. I mean, she should be doing the block debuffs and increase accuracy, and shortly after that, she should be able to do this, right? Because that's how you want to start. You want to place a low amount of accuracy on your champion. You want to place the increased accuracy, and then the decreased resistance, so the team. So, this could have been an extra turn even, maybe, instead of, all allies get turn meter. I don't exactly know, but I don't think it will do it. But of course, she was a D tier champion maybe. Now she's more like C, I think. So that's nice, right? We have something going on for her. And as I said, she goes in some nasty Synchronos rooms, right? Because Spirit Affinity, support, it's not a very popular affinity role combination. So as I said, this will help in Synchronos, that's for sure. I don't think it will introduce any new use other than that. Mine, I mean, I have mine sitting on 60. Maybe I'll use her here and there. And the second one is an old one, Jingwon. So he gets buffed as well. He becomes a little bit more of a damager. So the A1 does now also have 50% stun. Not bad, you know, you can always try your luck until you can high roll. Not bad at all. The second ability is interesting. It is now not a single target, but AoE, right? And also it now increases the duration of all debuffs on all enemies, as you can guess, because he attacks everyone. And now places a block active skills and block buffs alongside with. So there is no conditional, the condition goes away, right? So the block active skills gets placed, and on top of it, block buffs gets applied. And the cooldown is increased by 1 turn, which is logical, right? AoEs are generally on a 3-turn cooldown, so that it gets booked down to 3-turn cooldown. So what he does is, he attacks everyone, increase the duration of the debuffs, places a block active skills, and places a block buffs. I mean, not bad, right? So the question remains though, this ability was a single target, and it doesn't say that they have decreased the damage multiplier. So if the damage multiplier remains the same while turning from single target to AoE, that's going to mean a lot of damage, right? It's possible that Jingwon could be used a little bit. I mean, and I would say Hydra, but of course the stun doesn't have any use, block active skills doesn't have a use, but you know, AoE block buffs plus debuff duration increase is, you know, things that are most welcome in Hydra. Yeah, and this one is attacking enemies twice, all enemies twice. Removes all buffs now. The first hit removes all buffs. The second hit places a decreased accuracy debuff alongside with a decreased crit damage debuff. And places the strengthen across the board. Well, that is some serious buffing. So guys, removes all buffs. Places a decreased accuracy and decreased crit damage. Well, the decreased crit damage, of course, is, you know, something extremely rare, and you know, it is doubtful how useful it is, because you know, they have only a 15% crit rate, and when they crit they deal 50% extra damage, so that will go down to 25%. But of course, you know, it's a non-zero contribution, I suppose. It could be a little bit dangerous for the provoked if you are debuffing very heavily. I mean, it will be an extra debuff, so you could have maybe 10 debuffs at the same time, and you could maybe prevent yourself from provoking. But so guys, 2 AoEs at the same time. I mean, the champion will have 2 AoEs, and one of them is, you know, buff removal plus decreased accuracy plus decreased crit damage. The other is debuff duration extension and block buffs. I mean, yeah, it does sound like a Hydra champion, right? And the best thing is, guys, you normally, you know, when you use, you know, even the best champions, you know, Ugo, Michinaki, you are always limited by affinity, right? I mean, when there are a lot of redheads, it gets a little bit nasty. And this time around, we have a Void champion. That's why, you know, it feels so good to use Void champions, because, for example, there are rotations in which there are 3 redheads, right? So half 3 out of the 6 heads are force affinity, right? And that can give you a very hard time if you are magic affinity focused. And you know, magic affinity focus is something that happens very commonly in Hydra teams, because you know, Ugo and Michinaki are magic, so is Razelwarg. You know, that can happen. So him being Void is pretty nice. So I mean, I like Jingwon's buffs, yeah. The question is, as I said, if the damage multiplier for the A2 remained the same or not. I mean, I think they would have communicated that they were reducing the multiplier, right? But they didn't. And if it remains the same, that can be a serious damage. So guys, you know, doing quite a lot of useful stuff, and on top of it, doing decent damage. Marks Hydra very well. And as I said, guys, having your block buffs champion to be a void one is very useful. I mean, I'm sure people with Supreme Intellect would agree. It's so nice, right? You don't get screwed like that. So these are, I would say, pretty nice changes across the board. They said that the changes will go live with the next next patch. So that is Jingwon and Loriaca buffs. So for the first time, guys, I have the champions that are getting buffed, and at least the Jingwon buff feels a little, feels a little useful, right? Because most of the buffs they did were not useful, and the useful ones I didn't have them. And Loriaca will be semi-useful. I don't think she's up to par yet, but as I said, she goes in some Synthranos rooms, and she can be, cutting it now with her buffs. I mean, I do have all the rooms handled, I think, but maybe she goes in a room or two. I already have her at 60, right? I did level her in case I need her, but I never used her. She just doesn't bring enough. I'm still a little repulsed by the 20% turn meter push on the A3, right? I mean, if you have two abilities that you want to use in quick succession, I couldn't pronounce it, succession, you kind of want the extra turn, or at least like 50% turn meter fill, so you can do them rather quickly. 20% turn meter fill is, I mean, you will have to wait an age, right? So you will either have to, debuff the enemies without the increased accuracy, or you will have to use your ability and wait. Yeah, maybe they could have done something like 50% turn meter on her and 20% on the rest of the team. Maybe they thought that kind of stuff would be too complicated, but it is what it is. We do have some buffs, and that's it, guys. See you on stream. Bye bye.